Hi, welcome to Football World Weekly. I'm James Brady.
And I'm David Friend, here to bring you weekly updates of your football world.
Today in our inaugural podcast, we'll discuss Roy Hodgson's 23-man provisional squad for the Euro 2012.
As well as the Champions League final that will be played on Saturday.
Now, what do you think about the Hodges selection?
Overall, I think the selection is okay. Not the best. He definitely could have taken a little more time to choose the players that he picked.
He definitely could have. I think there are a few key components that are really lacking that we will touch up on here. Let's start with the goalkeepers. We got Joe Hart, Rob Green, and John Ruddy.
Obviously, Joe Hart will be starting. He's a solid goalkeeper, proved himself very well over the past Premier League season, winning the Premier League season with Manchester City.
Yeah, I feel that Joe Hart's proved himself as one of the top keepers in the world, and
definitely world class.
He should definitely help England move forward. England have been waiting a long time for a world-class keeper, probably since David Seaman, and this definitely is a good place to start.
Now, what are your thoughts about John Ruddy? He's uncapped. How do you feel?
John Ruddy is definitely a wild card for me. He's definitely a third-choice keeper, and with players that like Ben Foster that didn't come out of retirement, I don't know why Scott Carson wasn't drawn upon, but I think John Ruddy will be serviceable and can move forward as the England number 3. And your thoughts on Robert Green?
Well, he was part of that 2010 World Cup squad. He didn't do very well.
Oh, I thought he played very well.
And he's playing for West Ham, a team that's playing in the Championship, trying to make its way back into the Premier League. I think he did a good job this season. I mean, obviously, since they're in the playoffs to qualify for the Champions League season or the Premier League season next year. So, and then these are all ifs. Since Joe Hart will be starting, he's in fine form. Played every game for Manchester City this year. Those are my thoughts.
Oh, here's an interesting subplot. You got Rob Green. He's got his championship match coming up this Saturday. Do you think this gets to his head and possibly distracts him at West Ham?
It could. He's a professional. He's played many games. I'm sure that this won't be too much of a distraction. Of course, you never know.
I mean, it's a possibility, but we'll have to see there. We're going to the defenders. Big absence, Rio Ferdinand. I know you to be a fan of him.
I am.
How do you feel?
A fan. I'm a Manchester United fan as well. I would love to have seen him play. He took it in stride that he wasn't going to be going. I feel that if he had been picked, it wouldn't have been a bad decision, as we've seen many wild cards on this squad sheet. Mm-hmm. Rio Ferdinand could have done a serviceable job, a very decent job. John Terry as well. John Terry was one of the reasons that he was not picked, because Roy Hodgson didn't want any mixed feelings between the two, since John Terry is being accused of racially abusing his brother, Anton Ferdinand.
Yeah, and we heard from the FA that if he took one, he could not take the other.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it ever crossed his mind to leave out both?
I don't think so. John Terry is a fan favorite, definitely for Chelsea fans. I think he made a good choice taking John Terry, as well as had he taken Rio Ferdinand, I think he would have done just as good as a job.
So yeah, I feel with John Terry, what he gives you is he always is giving 110% out there. He's always trying his hardest for his country, and in this day and age, you don't get that very much with footballers. They don't try as hard as they would for their club as they would for their country, and I think with John Terry, that gives you an extra dimension.
Yeah, valid point. I agree.
Another notable exclusion, we have Michael Richards.
Michael Richards was very surprising to me when I read that. I didn't understand it. And, he's proved himself time and time again. Many England squads, many England managers haven't given him the opportunity that I believe he deserves.
I think that with Kyle Walker injured, Michael Richards definitely deserves a fair shake.
Yeah, especially since there's only Glenn Johnson is the only
right back on the squad. Yeah,
the only official right back on the squad.
And I definitely feel Glenn Johnson is by far England's third best right back. And leaving out the other two, one to injury and one just because, it's kind of puzzling to me. Mike Richards has been in great form all year.
Mm-hmm. He has.
Maybe Roy Hodgson just looked at the end of the year when he wasn't playing because he had a slight hamstring problem. And really, he couldn't displace Pablo Zabaleta because he was playing quite well as well. But I don't think it should have cost him an England call-up for this tournament. The rest of the defenders, we have Leighton Baines, Ashley Cole, Gary Cahill, Jolyon Lescott,
Phil Jones.
and Phil Jones. Phil Jones, what do you think about that one?
I don't think this is the time to be taking Phil Jones to an international championship. Phil Jones did decently throughout the Premier League season. Again, he's only 20. He still has a lot of things to learn.
He's got a lot of maturing to do. That's for sure.
Definitely a lot of maturing. He plays several positions well.
But he's a master of none of them.
He is not. He is definitely not a master of any of the positions he plays. He needs more time, I believe.
And we got to look at something like this. What if Glenn Johnson goes down in the first game? You have Phil Jones playing right back the rest of the tournament.
It didn't work out too well for Manchester United. I don't think it's going to do that well for England.
I mean, if you think about it, if Glenn Johnson goes down at any time before the France game, you got Phil Jones against Franck Ribéry up there, or even a Samir Nasri, anyone like that. France has the technical players to get around Phil Jones, and
yeah, definitely. And Phil Jones is not known for tracking back.
He's not. He's a player that likes to get forward. He likes to score goals. He doesn't really care about the semantics of which goal he's scoring in, but when he gets forward, he doesn't come back, and at an international level, that can be
very costly.
It's problematic to say the least.
Yeah, you don't want a player like that. I don't know what Roy Hodgson's planning on telling him, or maybe he's going to tell him he expects much more from him in these championships than in the Premier League season. But if Alex Ferguson couldn't get to him, I don't know. Who can?
It's quite a mystery with that one.
Well, let's move on to the midfield.
All right, we got the midfield. We've got Gareth Barry, Stuart Downing, Steven Gerrard. Who else do we have? We have Frank Lampard, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Scott Parker, Theo Walcott, Ashley Young, and James Milner. Out of all these, I would definitely say that Oxlade-Chamberlain is the biggest wild card.
Yeah, definitely.
They've taken.
Definitely. He's only 18 years old. He did very well this season with Arsenal. I was actually very impressed the way he did play. He presented himself very well. He showed he can play at the top level. So I mean, yeah, like you said, it's a wild card. We're not really sure what we're going to get out of him.
If he plays the way he played at Arsenal, he could be the spark that England needs to move them forward on the international stage. But if he doesn't, if the bright lights get to him, if he just doesn't have a good tournament, people will be questioning Roy Hodgson for a long time, and it could be bad.
He has titled himself to be a big game player. He did play against Manchester United, and he set up the assist for Robin van Persie to score the equalizer. Arsenal did end up losing that game, but it was because I feel that maybe Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain didn't finish that game as well, because as you remember, he was subbed out just soon after this goal was scored.
Yeah,
Robin van Persie wasn't very happy about it.
He was not pleased at all. And even on the post-game, Piers Morgan, large Arsenal fan, he was not pleased either. And
no. Piers Morgan actually thought that Arsene Wenger should get the sack just for that.
Yeah, and
wild card, like we said.
Yeah, it was a wild card. It could high risk, high reward player.
I mean, we remember Michael Owen. He was only 18 when he went to the World Cup in '98. He did exceptional.
Let's see. We got Stuart Downing as well.
Now I know you weren't very happy about Stuart Downing being there.
I was not. Stuart Downing, Liverpool's £20 million man. He failed to deliver a single goal or assist during the Premier League season. Not really what you want out of a player like that.
Definitely not if you're spending £20 million.
No. I mean, I understand where the selection was coming from. You definitely want a left-footed player playing out on the left flank in the international level.
Perhaps there was someone else that could have done a better job.
I feel that Adam Johnson could have done
definitely
a similar, if not
let's
better
remember, this
job.
guy's a City fan.
City fan or not, I feel Adam Johnson is a better player than Stuart Downing. If you look at the totals this year, Adam Johnson scored 5, 6 goals, I believe. He was one of the higher City scorers.
And he didn't start too often either.
He didn't. He started maybe half the games. Really, he just got trotted out when it looked like City already won.
Mm-hmm.
And he was able to produce a lot more. Some say he had a lot more to work with, but so did Stuart Downing. It's not like he plays for a terrible side. And I feel that he really should have put up a lot more than what he had offered.
Mm-hmm. Especially at that price tag.
Especially at the price. I mean, I don't like to call out players by their price tag, but that one's one you can't really overlook.
Yeah. Well, now we also have Steven Gerrard and Frank Lampard playing. Steven Gerrard has already been picked to be captain of the side. How do you feel that's going to turn out?
I feel that Steven Gerrard, to me, he's an undroppable player. You got to bring him to every England squad, be it friendly, junior matches, try to work him in there.
Mm-hmm.
Steven Gerrard's got to be around. As a captain, I feel that that's a great choice.
Oh, yeah.
I was not crazy about Scott Parker being captain for the Stuart Pearce side.
Well, neither was I.
I feel that Steven Gerrard and Frank Lampard together, though, that's not a good combination, and it doesn't usually work.
And Frank Lampard has a couple years on him. I don't think he'll be starting.
No, I think Frank Lampard's more there to be an impact player.
Mm-hmm. And England probably going to need those.
They probably will. I see a lot of close games coming out of the group stages, and
especially with this the European Championship selections. I mean, not selection, qualifying. With all these teams, you don't really have too many bad teams.
You don't. It's not like the World Cup where there's some teams where you can point out and go, that's the team that's going to be at the bottom. If you look at England's group, you have Sweden, France, and Ukraine, and you can't really peg a bottom side there.
No, you really can't. And if you remember in the 2010 World Cup, England had the USA, Algeria, and Slovenia, and they were picked to be leagues ahead of all of them, and ended up in second place.
Yeah, it looked to be quite a straightforward group.
Mm-hmm.
If you even look at France's group with Mexico, they finished bottom.
Yeah, Mexico and South Africa. Yeah, that was quite surprising.
Mm-hmm. If we move on to the forwards, we've got Andy Carroll, Jermaine Defoe, Wayne Rooney, and Danny Welbeck. How do you feel about the inclusion of Jermaine Defoe?
I don't get it. Jermaine Defoe, yeah, sure. You put him in front of the goal, he's probably going to score. I mean, you can definitely see that happening.
Yeah.
Outside of that, he's not very impactful. I mean, he's small. He's not very fast.
He has his days. I mean, I feel Jermaine Defoe can be a good player.
Is it what England needs? I don't think so.
You don't bring a player to a major tournament that can be a good player.
Mm-hmm.
You bring one that's a good player every day. I feel Darren Bent would have been a better inclusion to the side. They say that he should be healthy by the time the tournament comes about. Maybe he won't be. Maybe that's something we just didn't know.
Yeah.
It could be. But Jermaine Defoe, that one, I understand the need to bring 4 strikers because Rooney is going to miss the first 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Jermaine Defoe, probably not the best.
Do you think Danny Welbeck will have a chance of starting?
I feel that the first game is definitely going to go to Carroll. If he doesn't perform, which I can definitely see happening, I think we're going to see some Danny Welbeck there. Danny Welbeck, he can play out wide too. That expands his usage, but England also has a wealth of players that can play out wide. If there's one thing England has, it's definitely wingers.
Yeah, for sure.
Here's one thing that I thought of. Theo Walcott, he can play striker, and he's been wanting to play striker at Arsenal for years now. Maybe he gets a chance in the middle. He's a pacey player. He can run away from people. He can get away from some sides. I think maybe if Carroll or Welbeck don't work in the first game, you try Walcott out there.
You can, yeah, you definitely could. Yeah, he can score goals. He's 24. He's a young guy.
Mm-hmm.
He can definitely make an impact.
Yeah, I feel Theo Walcott probably can make up. I think that Theo Walcott will make a much larger impact than Jermaine Defoe will, for sure. If we look at some of the people left out on the squad, we've got Phil Jagielka, who we haven't discussed yet. Daniel Sturridge.
Yep. Bobby Zamora and Peter Crouch.
Yeah.
I don't think there are many surprises with Bobby Zamora and Peter Crouch.
Yeah, I'm not going to shed any tears over those two. Peter Crouch, he doesn't give you much. everything Peter Crouch gives you, I'm sure Andy Carroll can give you.
Definitely, yeah.
I mean, Peter Crouch, he can produce a few moments of brilliance, but again, it's kind of the Jermaine Defoe argument.
Yeah,
I bring a player that can be better.
exactly. Daniel Sturridge, he didn't play too much towards the end of the season.
He didn't, and I think that had a lot to do with Chelsea's change in managers.
Yeah.
AVB was rightfully sacked. Felt he would be from the beginning.
Right. Yeah, I didn't see him going much too far in the Premier League.
I feel maybe Roberto Di Matteo's been a little unfair to Sturridge. It's not like Sturridge became a bad player overnight, but he deserves his chances. But
and of course, probably Roberto Di Matteo was under a lot of pressure from the owner Roman Abramovich to play Torres as much as he could.
Yeah, and you know what Abramovich wants, he usually gets.
That's true.
And I think that Sturridge is in more of a Chamberlain situation to where they could have brought him and he could have given him something, but why take the chance? And that's why Chamberlain came, because he actually was playing and he had his chances. And he looks to be more likely to make something happen.
Definitely. And this is a good segue to talk about our next topic, which is the Champions League final.
Yeah.
Chelsea made it. Chelsea, with very big surprise with Barcelona to be in their opponents in the semifinals. I didn't see that happening at all.
Yeah, especially when they went down to 10 men. It definitely, who would have thought? But there they are, playing against Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich at the Bayern Stadium.
Yep, in Munich. Bayern will be playing at home. That's definitely a big advantage towards them. And they don't have four players suspended for the final. 4 key players, anyways.
Yeah, they've got 3 players and they're 3 defensive regulars. So they'll probably be playing a makeshift defense.
As well as Chelsea will.
Chelsea definitely.
Chelsea have lost Bratislav Ivanovic. Ramirez isn't a defensive, but John Terry.
John Terry, yes. And Raul Morales, I feel he's been a critical piece in the Chelsea machine.
Definitely, yeah.
He's always giving maximum effort. He's definitely someone to help.
He's going to be missed. Roberto Di Matteo is going to have a very hard time making decisions to who's going to be starting in that game.
Yeah, definitely. You're probably going to see John Obi back playing there.
Possibly Basingwa.
That's a possibility. I don't think that many Chelsea fans would want to see that.
No.
Basingwa's been quite poor all year. Bayern's missing David Alaba. He's been playing well out on the left. Holger Badstuber and Luis Gustavo. That's going to leave some holes in their defense. They've been saying that Simischuk is probably going to start for Bayern at center back, and he's more of a holding midfielder.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
That could be a.
And now, who do you think is going to win? Who's going to win the wing battles? Iron Robin or whoever they replace for Ramirez?
Oh, definitely. With Robin and Ribery out there, it's not going to look good for Chelsea. Chelsea on the wing. Might see Daniel Sturridge play.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't see much happening for Chelsea.
Now, who do you think is going to win that game?
To me, it comes down to Didier Drogba. If he has a good game, then Chelsea probably looking at the title for the Champions League there. If Bayern can keep him quiet, then.
So you think that it's really Chelsea's to lose, or Didier Drogba's to lose?
I feel it's Didier Drogba's to lose. He's got something to prove. He's been playing with a chip on his shoulder for pretty much the entire.
Oh yeah. He was. I think he was treated unfairly during the AVB days. He just cast out to the side, almost sold.
Yeah.
He almost left Chelsea, and he proved to be something that Chelsea really needed.
Yeah, I mean,
they won the FA Cup with him. They made it to the Champions League final.
Chelsea were looking for a big name signing, and they had it there all along with Didier Drogba, and they.
Yeah, if you remember back in the 09-10 season, he was the one scoring the goals. That's really the reason why Chelsea won the league that year.
Yeah, I mean Drogba's proven to be a quality player time and time again, and to cast him aside would.
And he's just got to keep proving himself.
Yeah, it was a poor decision, and now that he's at the forefront again, you got Fernando Torres. He's starting to play better.
Yeah, he's definitely playing better. I still don't think he's to the form that everyone is saying, that I've heard on reports and during commentating. Everyone keeps saying that Torres is back. I don't believe so. I don't even know if he'll make it to the Spain squad for the Euro 2012.
I mean,
He might. I wouldn't be surprised if he were, but I think that they might have more serviceable players than Fernando Torres at this moment in time.
that could be very true, but we'll just have to see then. I feel that there are other players that could play striker for Spain, but it's all down to what Vicente Del Bosque wants.
Definitely. Well, back to the Champions League final. I think Bayern are going to take it. If I'm just looking at straight out between the two teams, who they decide to play and what. Definitely with that home advantage and the way Bayern have been playing. I mean, they took down Real Madrid when no one thought they would.
I mean, if we look back to Bayern just suffered a heavy defeat against Dortmund in the German Cup, and I didn't see them losing 5-2, but it happened. I mean, I think it's Bayern's game to lose, definitely. I think they can win, but I wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea took it. So we'll just have to see then.
Yep. Well, join us again next week. We'll be talking more about what happened on Saturday in that Champions League final and maybe any more interesting stories that come up during the week.
Yeah. So if you have any questions for us, or if you guys have any thoughts of who should have made the England squad or who you think is going to win the Champions League, feel free to leave us a comment and ask. And we'll see you next week.
And this has been Football World Weekly.
All right.